parents sold my childhood home without telling me, then begged for help when buyers sued them. My phone buzzed at 9:17 a.m., right in the middle of a meeting where I was pretending to care about quarterly projections, and the screen lit up with MOM in all caps like a warning label. I let it ring once, twice, then declined it because my boss was mid-sentence and everyone had their laptops open like shields. The second I hit decline, my voicemail icon turned red. Then it buzzed again. Dad, decline. Another red dot. My throat tightened the way it does when you can tell, before you even know the details, that your life is about to get dragged into somebody else's mess. I excused myself with the kind of smile you use when you're trying not to look like you're sprinting out of a room on fire, and I walked fast, too fast, down the hallway to the quiet stairwell. My hand was sweaty as I hit play on the first voicemail. My mom's voice came through in that breathy, rushed tone she uses when she wants to sound like the victim and the hero at the same time. Baby, please call me back. It's an emergency. We got served. They're suing us. I don't know what to do. Your dad's about to. There was a muffled argument in the background, my dad's voice barking something I couldn't make out. Then my mom again, please, honey, we need you. We need your help. It's about the house. It was a Thursday night about 6 months earlier when I first noticed something was off, and I only noticed because my childhood home stopped existing in the way it always had, quietly, reliably, like an anchor you didn't realize you were tied to. I was half asleep on my couch, scrolling through my phone, when a real estate ad popped up in my feed. I didn't even know why it was there. The algorithm probably decided I was ready to buy property because I'd Googled how to unclog a sink or something. But the photo stopped me cold. A familiar brick front. A familiar krukidgate. The stupid little sun-faded porch swing my dad swore he'd fix next weekend for 15 years. My brain actually refused to accept it at first. I zoomed in like I could force the pixels to lie. There was our front door, the one with the scratch marks from the dog we had when I was 12. There was the hydrangea bush my mom bragged about every spring like she personally invented flowers. And in the listing caption, right there under the glossy, charming family home, it said, newly available. Motivated sellers. I texted my mom immediately. Why is our house on a listing? She took 12 minutes to respond, which is how long it takes her to workshop a lie that sounds like concern. What? That can't be right. Maybe it's an old photo. I sent her the link. It's live. It's our house. Mom. Another pause. Then, we're going to tell you. Don't freak out. That was the first time I felt it. This sharp, stupid betrayal that doesn't even come with the courtesy of being dramatic. It's not like in movies where everyone yells and storms out. It was just me, alone in my apartment, staring at my phone while my chest got tight, realizing my parents had made a decision about my history without me even being part of the conversation. I called her. She answered on the second ring like she'd been waiting. Honey, she started, already sighing like I was the difficult one. Are you selling the house? I asked. My mom did that thing where she tries to soften the blow by making it sound like it's for your own good. We've been thinking about it for a while, she said carefully. It's too much upkeep. Your father's back, isn't what it used to be. The stairs, the yard. We can't keep up. You were thinking about it, I repeated, trying to keep my voice level, and you didn't tell me. We didn't want you to worry, she said, and I could hear the way she said it with pride, like keeping me out of the loop was proof of how loving she was. I'm not a kid, I said. My throat felt hot. That's my home too. It's a house, my mom said quickly. A building. Don't be sentimental. That was rich coming from the woman who still has my kindergarten handprint framed in her hallway. I asked to talk to my dad. He came on the line gruff and impatient. What's the big deal? He snapped. You don't live here. I grew up there, I said. You're selling it without telling me. We were going to tell you, he said, the same line my mom used like they were reading from the same script. We didn't think you'd take it well. So the solution was to keep it secret until a random ad served it to me. Silence. Then my dad's voice, colder. We need the money. There it was. The truth, blunt like a brick. I didn't even know what to say to that. Not because I'm naive. I know my parents aren't rich, but because that house was the one thing they always treated like sacred. My mom used to say, no matter what happens, this house stays in the family. She said it like it was a promise, like it was stability made out of brick. But stability gets sold when people panic. The story they gave me over the next few weeks came in fragments, like they were handing me pieces they thought I could handle without choking on them. My dad had dipped into a short-term loan to cover some medical bills after a rough year. Then his hours got cut. Then the interest piled up. Then he didn't tell my mom until the letters started arriving. My mom said she didn't want to stress me, and my dad said it was none of my business, and somewhere in that toxic little cocktail, the house became their emergency exit. I asked if I could come home, walk through it one last time, take some things. Photos, my grandma's sewing box, the height chart my dad carved into the doorframe. My mom said, "We'll see," which is her way of saying no without saying no. Then, one Saturday morning, the listing changed from available to pending, and nobody called me. Nobody warned me. Nobody asked if I wanted to say goodbye to the place where I'd learned to ride a bike and cried after my first breakup and sat on the kitchen floor eating cereal at midnight because I was too anxious to sleep. A month later, the listing said sold. I found out the way you find out everything with my family. After the fact, when the decision is irreversible and the only role left for you is to accept it. I didn't go scorched earth. I didn't cut them off. I did what I always do when people disappoint me. I swallowed it and tried to make it hurt less by pretending it didn't matter. I told myself a building is a building. I told myself I'm grown. I told myself my parents are struggling and I should have compassion. But compassion starts to rot when it's one-sided. So when my mom said, in that voicemail, "They're suing us, it's about the house," my first emotion wasn't fear. It was this exhausted, bitter clarity. Of course it is. I called her back from the stairwell, staring at the concrete wall like it could hold me upright. She answered on the first ring. "Thank God," she cried. "Oh my God, thank God. Lily, we need you." "What happened?" I asked, and my voice sounded calm in a way that didn't match how my heart was banging. "It's the buyer," she said. He's accusing us of lying. He says we didn't disclose things, and now he's suing us for damages. There's papers. She started crying harder. "Your father is losing his mind." My dad's voice cut in the background, loud and furious. "Tell her to come here. Tell her she needs to fix this." My stomach dropped. "Fix this," I repeated. "You work with paperwork," my mom pleaded, like my job title was a magical spell. "You're good with words. You can talk to people. We just need help understanding what to do." I closed my eyes, pinching the bridge of my nose. "Mom," I said slowly, "why are they suing? What didn't you disclose?" She hesitated, and that hesitation told me everything. "It's little things," she said quickly. "Normal house stuff. He's making it into a big deal." "Like what?" I pressed. Another pause. Then too fast. "There was some water in the basement, but it was fine. We dried it." I felt cold crawl up my spine. "How much water?" "Just after storms," she said, vague. "It's an old house." "What else?" I asked. My mom's breathing got shaky, and I could hear her doing that mental math she does. How much truth can she give without me getting mad? "The deck," she admitted. "He says it's not permitted." "Because it isn't," my dad snapped in the background. My eyes snapped open. "Dad built that deck himself," I said, more to myself than to her. "It held," my dad yelled. "It held for years." "That doesn't mean it was allowed," I said, my voice sharpening. My mom rushed in again. "And he's saying the property line, there's a fence issue. And something about the shed encroaching." The shed. The same shed my dad put up one summer without measuring properly because he refused to pay for a survey and said, "I've lived here 30 years, I know where the line is." I exhaled slowly. "So the buyer found a bunch of issues he didn't disclose," I said, my voice flat. "We didn't know," my mom said immediately. My dad barked a laugh. "We knew plenty. We just didn't think he'd be such an asshole." I stared at the concrete wall again, feeling that old childhood sensation of being the only adult in a room full of feelings. "Did you use a real estate agent?" I asked. "Yes," my mom said. "But your father insisted on." "I don't want to pay extra," my dad cut in. "It's our house. We can sell it." "And the disclosure forms?" I asked. My mom went quiet enough that my chest tightened. "Mom," I warned. "We filled them out," she said, and it sounded like she was lying through her teeth. My dad shouted from wherever he was. Tell her about the signature. My stomach lurched. What signature? I demanded. My mom's voice went small. He's saying you were supposed to sign something. Because Grandma. My mouth went dry. Because of Grandma? I repeated. My grandmother, the one person who ever treated me like I wasn't an inconvenience, had added my name to the deed years ago, so it stays in the family. I'd signed paperwork with her at the kitchen table while she wore her glasses low on her nose and said, "This doesn't mean you owe anyone anything. It means nobody can take it from you without you knowing." I hadn't thought about it in a while because life gets busy and you assume your parents aren't going to do something criminal. "Mom," I said very carefully, "did you sell the house without my signature?" She didn't answer. She just cried. My dad's voice thundered through the phone now, closer. "It was just paperwork," he snapped. "We handled it." My blood went cold. "Did you forge my signature?" I asked, and my voice sounded foreign to me. "Don't be dramatic," my dad spat. "You weren't here. We needed to move fast. The buyer wanted it done. Your mother was panicking. It's not like you were going to say no." The stairwell suddenly felt too small. My pulse hammered in my ears. "You forged my signature," I repeated, and it wasn't a question anymore. My mom sobbed. We didn't know what else to do. In that moment, the lawsuit made sense. Not just basement water and unpermitted deck. The buyer's attorney probably found the deed history, saw my name, and realized the sale paperwork didn't match. Or the buyer tried to insure the title and the title company flagged it. Or the buyer's lender asked for missing signatures. However it happened, and now my parents were calling me to fix it after they'd literally committed fraud with my name. I gripped the railing so hard my knuckles hurt. "Do you understand," I said slowly, "that you may have dragged me into a crime?" My dad scoffed. "Crime?" He repeated like I was being dramatic again. "Nobody's going to jail. They're just trying to scare us." The way he said it, so casual, so confident, made something in me snap into a quiet, terrifying calm. "I'm not coming over to fix anything," I said. "I'm getting my own lawyer." My mom gasped like I'd slapped her. "No, Lily, please. Don't do that," she pleaded. "We're family." Family. The word that gets used like a leash. "You forged my signature," I said, and my voice shook now despite my efforts. "You sold my childhood home without telling me, and then you used my name to do it." My dad's voice went sharp. "We raised you," he barked. "We gave you everything. You're going to turn on us." I swallowed hard, feeling tears sting but refusing to let them fall in that stairwell. "You turned on me first," I said quietly. Then I hung up. I stood there for a full minute staring at the voicemail icon, like it might bite me. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely unlock my phone, but I did what I should have done months ago when I saw the listing. I got professional help. Not family advice. Not, "Let's just keep it quiet." Real help. I called a lawyer. I spent the rest of the day in a blur of guilt and anger and disbelief. I kept thinking about my grandma's hand on mine when she said, "Nobody can take it from you without you knowing." And I kept imagining her face if she knew what my parents had done with that protection. I felt sick when I finally drove to my parents' place that evening, because despite everything, I'm still the kind of person who shows up. I didn't walk into the house like a rescuer. I walked in like a stranger. My parents' current house was smaller, cluttered, full of moving boxes because they'd downsized fast. My mom's eyes were swollen. My dad was pacing with that frantic anger he gets when he knows he's wrong, but refuses to admit it. He shoved an envelope toward me. "Read it," he demanded. I didn't take it. "I'm not your lawyer," I said. "I'm not your fixer. I'm the person whose name you used." My mom reached for my hand. I pulled back. It was only because the timing, she started. "Stop," I said, sharper than I intended. My voice broke slightly. "Just stop. Tell me the truth. All of it. No softening." My dad threw his hands up. "Fine," he snapped. "We sold the house. We disclosed what we thought mattered. That guy is a freak. He's trying to squeeze us." I looked at him. "Did you disclose the basement flooding?" I asked. My dad's eyes flicked away. "It wasn't flooding," he muttered. "It was damp." I stared. "Dad," my mom whispered, "it got bad sometimes. We used fans." "The deck?" I asked. My dad shrugged. It worked. The shed encroachment. I pressed. My dad snapped. It's a stupid shed. And my signature, I said, my voice dropping. How did you do it? My mom covered her face. My dad's jaw tightened. The agent said we needed it, he admitted. Your mother said you'd freak out. So, we did what we had to do. What you had to do, I repeated, and I could taste bitterness on my tone. My mom reached for me again. We were scared, she whispered. We were drowning. And you thought the solution was to drown me too? I asked, and my voice cracked fully then because grief has edges and I was cutting myself on them. That's the part people don't understand about betrayal like this. It's not just the action. It's the casual assumption that your life is usable, that your name is a tool, that your memories are a commodity. I didn't scream. I didn't throw things. I just sat down on their couch, suddenly exhausted, and said, my lawyer is going to contact you. Do not sign anything else. Do not talk to the buyer directly. Do not handle anything. My dad glared. So you're siding with him? He spat. I'm siding with reality, I said, because you don't get to commit fraud and then act offended when I won't help you hide it. My mom sobbed again. Please, she whispered. We can't lose everything. And there it was, the hook, the guilt, the old family dynamic where I'm supposed to sacrifice my own safety to protect them from consequences. I stood up. My legs felt shaky. I'm going to protect myself, I said. If that also helps you, great. But I'm not lying. I'm not signing retroactive papers. I'm not pretending you didn't do what you did. My dad's face went red. So what? You're going to let them take us to court? He snapped. I flinched at the word because I'm not made of stone, but I kept my voice steady. You already let that happen, I said. When you sold a house you didn't fully own and forged my signature. The weeks that followed were brutal in a quiet, administrative way. Emails, phone calls, requests for documents. My lawyer explained what I already suspected. The buyer's lawsuit wasn't just about defects. It was about title and misrepresentation, and a forged signature made it worse. A lot worse. The buyer, some guy named Randall who sounded like he did this kind of thing for fun, wanted damages and legal fees and possibly to unwind the sale entirely. My parents didn't have the money to fight. They barely had the money to breathe. They begged me constantly. My mom showed up at my apartment once with red eyes, and a bag of muffins like this was a normal mother-daughter repair moment. I made your favorite, she said, voice trembling. I didn't take the muffins. I said, did you tell me the truth yet? And she burst into tears on my doorstep. My dad tried intimidation. He left me voicemails saying things like, you're going to regret betraying family, and your grandmother would be ashamed, which was almost funny in a dark way because my grandmother is the one who tried to protect me from them. In mediation, my parents' story kept shifting depending on what looked better. Sometimes they didn't know about the basement water. Sometimes they forgot. Sometimes they implied the agent guided them. Sometimes they blamed the buyer for being picky. But the documents don't care about feelings. Paper is cold like that. Eventually, under pressure from my lawyer and the undeniable fact that my name was involved, my parents admitted what they'd done. Not in an emotional, healing way, in a legal, cornered way. The settlement they reached wasn't pretty. They had to pay a chunk they didn't have. They had to agree to cover some repairs and a portion of the buyer's fees. They had to sign documents acknowledging the signature issue and correcting title defects. My parents had to take out another loan, this time one that was actually documented and real and painfully expensive. They sold my dad's truck. My mom sold jewelry she'd been saving. They downsized again, smaller, sadder. Through all of it, they kept asking me for comfort like they were the injured party. One night near the end of it, my mom called me, voice quiet, and said, "Do you hate us?" I stared at my ceiling in the dark, feeling that familiar childhood conflict, love braided tightly with anger. "I don't hate you," I said, "but I don't trust you right now." There was a long silence. Then my mom whispered, "We didn't mean to hurt you." And something in me finally said the thing I'd been swallowing for years. "That doesn't matter," I said quietly. "You did." After the settlement was final, I drove past my childhood home. I don't know why. Masochism, maybe. Curiosity. Grief with nowhere else to go. The new owner had painted the shutters black. The hydrangeas were gone. The porch swing was gone. There was a new fence line, properly surveyed, I'm sure. The windows looked empty in a way that made my stomach twist, like the house didn't recognize me anymore. I sat in my car across the street and stared until my eyes burned. I thought about my grandma's kitchen table where we signed paperwork, the way she'd said, "This stays with you." I thought about the height marks on the doorframe, my brother's name, my name, little lines creeping up year by year. I thought about the smell of the hallway after my mom vacuumed, that warm, dusty scent. I thought about my dad teaching me how to change a tire in the driveway, his voice patient back then, before stress made him sharp. And I let myself feel it, the loss, the anger, the sad part that still wanted my parents to be better people than they are. They didn't call to apologize in some grand way. My dad never said, "I was wrong." He said, "Well, it's handled now." Like the resolution erased the betrayal. My mom said, "We learned our lesson," like I was supposed to smile and move on. But I did learn something too. I learned that people can love you and still use you. I learned that family is not a permission slip to cross boundaries. I learned that compassion without limits turns into self-erasure. And I learned that the place you come from can be sold out from under you, and it will still be yours in the way scars are yours. Quiet proof that something happened and you survived it. My parents are still in my life. Technically, we talk. We do small, careful conversations. But the relationship is different now, and I don't know if it will ever go back. Because when the house disappeared, it wasn't just a building. It was a message. It was them saying, without saying it, "We'll decide what matters. We'll decide what you get to keep. We'll tell you when it's convenient." And when the buyers sued them and they begged me for help, what they were really begging for was the old version of me. The one who would clean up the mess and swallow the pain and call it love. That version of me doesn't live here anymore.